Aloha and welcome to the Epic Creations Crypto Power Hour with expert investor Ryan Cunningham. Today, the man, the myth, the legend. Ryan, how you doing?
Good.
All right.
Pretty good, pretty good. Right before we started, the dog decided he wanted to jump into my lap. So this is Mojito, and we're doing good.
Oh, hello, Mojito. Hola, Mojito. So, how was your week?
Week was pretty good. It's yeah, just settling in at the new job, getting a little bit more up to date and like all the movements and everything I'm supposed to be doing. A little bit more of my actual day to day instead of just like training classes, which is nice. Things have been good. I actually just a couple hours ago got back home from I just started doing adult hockey. So I've never played hockey before and did my first class. So it was fun. So we'll see how it goes.
So, my week was great. I got a little work done in the shop with Levi, working on some doors and some cabinets and some tables. Been sanding and refinishing over there. And then he finished up some custom skateboards for Epic Creations that we're going to mint as NFTs. So I've been working on the renders for those digital NFTs of the skateboards. So that's been really cool. I've been working on that, and crypto's been dumping. I've been crying, but it's okay because it'll come back. Right? I mean, it should. I think we're getting approved for the ETF here pretty soon. That's what the rumor is, and it seems like BlackRock is backing that rumor as of the news today. So, what do you think about that? You think
Yeah.
it's going to get approved or not?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely. I think there's pretty much no shot at it not being approved. It's pretty darn close to a sure thing. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not expecting that to change. I've been busy all day. Was there BlackRock news today that I missed?
Oh, well, BlackRock just was saying that they expect the ETF to be approved on
Oh,
Wednesday.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
On Wednesday?
on
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah, yeah, I'm expecting it to go through. I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't be.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm saying too. But it is dumping. Let's look at the price right now, real quick.
Okay.
It's had a pretty gnarly dip here.
That is a
But
busy chart.
I know that's I don't know why that's there. It's all the ideas from everybody that they just like throw onto the chart, and for some reason it's been showing me that. I must have turned it
Okay.
on somehow in my indicators. But that's what all those dots are. They're just ideas. Like you
People
can
that you
click on
know,
them.
or just random people.
Random people on TradingView. So you can click
Okay.
on them, and it'll open up their idea and like their chart that they drew out. So it's actually pretty cool. But there's just so many of them on Bitcoin that it's
Yeah.
kind of ridiculous. But on some of the other coins that aren't so well known, there's only like 2 or 3 ideas. So that gets a little bit. That's not so confusing.
Right.
Um,
Interesting.
but
Okay.
pretty much everybody's got the same conclusion here. It's gonna, may have a pullback, but then keep going.
What chart? That's a huge pullback for the daily chart.
Yeah.
The one you were just looking at. Yeah. Don't worry about going
Oh
back to
yeah,
it
that
then.
was a huge. It was down to 41K. That's what it was looking at down to here.
Yeah, so okay. It looked bigger from based on
Zoomed
just
in, yeah.
the angle that I looked at. Yeah. Okay. So
So
yeah,
we're
price is
sitting
down.
at 43,640 today. Earlier we were at 44. Looks like, yeah, we like tapped 44 today. That was like the
Right.
top.
For me, we almost perfectly tapped the 20 moving average on the daily, which I told you I'm I'm still looking at the daily
So that's
20.
this
We're
red
still above it.
line right here.
We're still,
This one coming in.
yeah. So that is the thing. I mean, even though it's slowed down, it is still staying above that moving average. Even when we had our little like baby crash the other day, we wicked below it several times, but we had
Right.
it looks like December 29th, 30th, and 31st were the only days that we actually had candles that closed below it. And I actually thought we were going to, because of that, I thought we were going to drop down to at least down to the 50. And we didn't. We kind of traded sideways a little bit, and then we had that monster day on the 1st where we just shot up. And so we are still riding that 20 moving average on the daily, and really until we show breakage of it, even with like, look, I mean, we're on our 4th daily candle in a row right now of red, and we're still above it. We're still like, we tapped it, but then we bounce back up. So until we break that daily, we're still in an uptrend. We're still going up. We're still riding a tight 20 moving average, which is good. I mean, we're probably going to bounce here. Like every time we dip below or wick below the 20 moving average, we set a new high, or like a new local high at least.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's great. It looks like
mhm.
for the past few months at least, it hasn't even touched the blue average line, which is at 41,351 now. But yeah, for
Mhm.
the past few months, it hasn't even touched it. It's just been riding that red line here.
Right.
So yeah, all going according to plan.
Yeah. I thought we would be higher now with the ETF coming, but we still are. We're still going up. We're still on an uptrend. We still were at new local highs just like a week ago. And
Yeah, I'm
so
I'm seeing I saw a news article that said that all these people are waiting for the approval. Like they've got money sitting on the sidelines waiting for the approval from the SEC
Mhm.
of the ETF, and then they're putting the money, they're deploying the capital. So
that
basically,
that
it's on
could
the
be.
sidelines right now.
That could be. I mean, all the people with the ETFs can't technically really buy the Bitcoin yet, can they? I don't know if that's the rule, but I've heard, like BlackRock's got 2 billion ready,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah,
And they
exactly.
haven't. I don't think they've started deploying that. I don't think they've actually started buying Bitcoin yet. The thing for me that I heard, I actually was watching a little earlier today, was Cryptos R Us put out a video, and he was talking about how, because Bitcoin's only down, I mean, over the last 24 hours, like 2%, 3%, something like that. Bitcoin is, it's not even really a crash. It's just kind of like
Yeah,
it's a daily movement. It's a nothing movement. It's 3% and 2% is nothing on Bitcoin. Yeah, what he said, which makes a lot of sense. I haven't actually honestly spent a lot of time looking at charts this week. I've had a busy week. I've looked at charts much less than I normally do. But what he was saying is probably what's happening. Honestly, if people are cashing out of altcoins, and maybe Bitcoin's coming down a little bit, just as kind of getting dragged down by the whole crypto industry right now, everybody's cashing out of altcoins, and altcoins are crashing right now because everyone is ready to put that money into Bitcoin, and they're
right.
just kind of stocking up cash right now. And Wednesday or tomorrow or whenever we get this ETF, Bitcoin will pop, and then as soon as Bitcoin pops, people pull those profits out and they'll go right back into the altcoins.
Yeah, that's usually the cycle of Bitcoin will move first, and then the profits will cycle into the altcoins. They'll
Yeah, but I mean, I think it'll be. I'm not talking like a bigger altcoin season. I'm talking like day of, like the day that it pops, the 48 hours after the ETF starts trading. If the price moons, altcoins will catch up right away.
right.
All Bitcoin's gonna gain some ground, and then it give some of it back.
That's great. I can't wait. I'm
Hmm.
super excited. And if we get a whole
Hmm.
nothing burger, if it gets denied, woo! I don't even know.
With If we get an actual denial, we'll hit 38. I mean, it's gonna drop pretty hard.
Yeah, 38
But yeah, if
for
we get a
sure.
delay, which I don't think they can, I think, are they all? I know the ARC one this week is final, right? Are they all final, or is it just the ARC?
It's all of them.
I actually think too that the SEC will probably approve. I think is more likely to approve them all at once instead of one at a time, because otherwise they could, if they deny one and approve another one, and that one then gets approved later down the line, if they reapply, the amount of money that they could have missed on for not being there day one I mean, I bet they would try to sue the SEC. So I'm expecting them to all get approved all at once.
Mm-hmm. The only other option I see is only BlackRock and Grayscale
Mm.
getting approved. So that's bullish. ETH is sitting at 2,197. Went down to the blue moving average, the 50. Is that the 50? Yeah.
I'm looking at, we need to, well, actually, no, I don't know what we're going to see this week. I texted you earlier. It's going to be an unexpected week, and I don't think anybody can really predict what's going to happen. You said earlier this might be market manipulation. I don't really think it's market manipulation because Bitcoin's not dropping. I think people are just selling out of altcoins, or they're stacking up cash to buy Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
If Bitcoin was down like 5%, 10% leading into the week of the ETF, maybe, yeah, but the fact that it's only down like 2% is not much. I think this is just normal market movements. A little bit of people selling the news, a little bit of people stacking cash, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I think we could go up all week. I think we could go down all week, and I think we could be flat, and nobody will do a thing until there's an announcement. Honestly,
Huh.
this is not a week. It's the same. I look at this week the same as I look at like a FOMC week. Like FOMCs are always weird. Like it'll pump on Sunday, then dip, then crash on Monday, then pump on Tuesday, and then crash Tuesday night, and then Wednesday when they make the announcement, it'll like pump up and then crash down, or it'll crash down and then pump up. And it's always like it's one of those things. I would never trade with leverage during an FOMC week because you're asking to get stopped out or liquidated. It's the same thing with this week. The only thing that I would do if I were trading with some leverage is I would do something like a 2x, and just because otherwise, I
Yeah.
mean, you are really risking your money because it's going to be volatile. And even if it does go up, it's going to shoot up 20% and then it's going to drop 10%. And if you got a trailing stop loss, or if you get in a little late so you only catch half that movement, you're going to get stopped out.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would buy for this week, but I wouldn't leverage for this week. That's a little scary. It's this might be this literally could be the biggest news event that Bitcoin has ever seen,
Right.
and the price is going to go nuts. And it could be nuts down. It could be the biggest sell the news event we've ever seen, and then from there, it could pump up with as soon as it starts trading. So I mean, we could have a
Yeah.
huge crash and then pump, or we could have a huge pump and then a huge crash. Like this is not a week
Yeah, they're talking about
that I think.
listing right after the approval. Like I thought it was going to be approved now, like listed in a couple months, but they're talking about
Yeah,
now.
if I remember from a few years ago, ETFs are not something that I really know all the details on. But if I remember from a few years ago, when they first approved the very first futures ETF for Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like late 2021 when that listed. They approved it, and I think within like 2 days, it was like it was like a day and a half that it was ready to trade. It was
Mm-hmm.
like, or I think it was even maybe like they couldn't get it up and running in the morning, like first thing at market open, so it opened up at like noon that day or something like that. It was something weird, but I remember it was like the same week. It was ready to go, and they started trading it right away, which was, I mean, insane. But then also, if you remember, when it came out, the first day of trading, I think it did like I'm gonna get all this wrong. Anybody can fact check me on it, but it was like $3 billion or something. It set a record for the biggest biggest ETF open ever, and it was nuts. And the funny thing is, I actually saw something from, like I said, that same video that I watched from Cryptos R Us earlier today. He was saying that the guy who was the previous SEC chair before Gary Gensler said after he left that they were being pressured by the government to approve that futures ETF to pop the Bitcoin bubble. Because, that was basically at, late summer 2021. That's when we were on our way to our second all-time high, the 69,000.
Really?
And so it was shortly thereafter, within a couple months that we crashed back down again, all the way down to 16,000. And so it's, So, I mean, there's a lot of interest. There's going to be a ton of people investing in a Bitcoin spot ETF because there was a ton of people, like record-breaking amounts of people investing in a futures ETF, and a spot ETF is way more impressive, and it will actually affect the price, which a futures ETF does not. So I don't know. I would recommend anyone, unless you're stupid or unless you really don't care about burning and like setting money on fire, I would say don't trade this week. Or if you do, don't use leverage. It's going to be a nuts week. It's going to be nuts. If we get an approval or a denial, we're probably looking at 10 to 20% movements in 24, 48, 72 hours, something like that.
Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, it looks like
fun
we
or
just got a
devastating.
red dot here on the daily today.
Oh yeah.
It could start to develop a downtrend if this isn't just a false red dot, because sometimes it is. It'll form a bearish divergence, but then it'll say the price will go back and it'll say, oh nope, just a bearish divergence. And so we had a green dot, went into an uptrend on the first first of January, and then so that was a week ago, last Monday. It's Monday again, so it could continue the bullish trend, but we are developing a red dot here. So once the candle closes, it'll tell us if it really is a red dot or not, or if it's just a false red dot. And then if it is a red dot, usually it'll it'll drop probably down to at least, I would say, this moving average here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like I said, I mean, we gotta break that 20 first. Until we break the 20, I'm not convinced we're ever going down. It does look like your last two dots before that were pretty accurate, but it looks like the ones before that were not, or they called incredibly small movements down. And so the ones you got, that one, the one before looks pretty accurate, but the few before that don't look very good at all. So like go back just a little bit more. Yeah, those ones didn't.
Oh, these ones, yeah. Yeah, sometimes it'll do this. Like if it's just basically going sideways and it doesn't really know where it's going, it'll be like green dot, red dot, green dot, and then until like a trend actually develops, and then you'll get the real green.
Okay. But one of the things that I really love about the bull market is that when the price goes up, or when you get an indicator that is a 70% up or 70% down and 30% up, like a rising wedge or something like that, 70% of the time that breaks down, but in the bull market, like 95% of the time that breaks up. It's just the way that the bull market works. The bull market always, if there's an option for it to go higher or lower, it's almost always going to go higher. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't matter how good you are at charting, how likely that indicator is in a normal market. There is a Bitcoin bull market is not a normal market. And
yeah, it looks like every time that there's a bearish divergence here, it'll go down and touch the red line and then go green again. So like we just did, like we just touched it, and so that could be the local bottom there.
Right.
I mean, it could go up from here.
Yeah, and I mean we have been wicking lately. We've been wicking below it. So I mean we could go down a bit more. We could wick below it, but I'm just not expecting to really close any body significantly underneath that 20 moving
Yeah,
average. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at it.
right. Yeah, and it's right now it's aligned with this. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I put this the other end of right here,
Okay, so
26,000,
okay,
right
that
at
was
the
my
bottom of the pump, right? So
yeah, that looks pretty solid.
yeah, so it's following that trend line, and it's been it's been above there for quite some time, and it seems to that trend line seems to stay in the middle between the red and the blue, but looks like the red's
Mm-hmm.
crossing down below it now.
Well, I mean that gives us convergence of support though, right? If we've got both now the 20 moving average and that trend line is converging, that means it's going to be extra strong
Oh, nice,
convergence to
yeah,
bounce off of. Yeah,
platform
and so
like a
yeah,
diving
that
board.
means yeah, that's extra strong convergence of that's extra strong support. So I mean, if we break down through it, that's a bad thing because we're breaking a very strong support now. Or if we bounce off of it, we got a really nice, we got a good chance of bouncing off of it now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems bullish. This guy is super bullish on the ETF when it drops.
Hmm.
So I think it seems like everybody's bullish. It might just be a total fake out and it's a sell the news thing, and but who knows? We'll just have to see.
Yeah,
And it's so exciting because it's coming up in just a few days now, the deadline
yeah,
for the SEC. And of course, they're just dragging their feet. They don't want to
yep,
they don't want to approve it, but it looks like all the documents are in order. All the companies filed their final final documents with the
yeah.
SEC, all the updated
There was a
documents.
big document that the SEC wanted to do on Friday for all of them. Wasn't there? And they all
Yeah,
turned them
they
in
all
before
turned
the
it in. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they all turned them in.
Yeah, there's way too much movement. There's been way too much filing. The fact that I mean, they're way further along in the filing process than they've ever been before. It's pretty much a sure thing. It's going to happen. So they're so far along in the process, it would be tough to imagine them getting denied at this point. It's almost a sure thing. Like they're going to get approved.
Right. So I just wanted to go into some news articles now. Um,
Sure.
for the past week. So I'll start on the first last Monday. Um, we got this one 40 Bitcoin was at 45,285 week ago.
Hmm.
That was the big pump. And
Hmm.
this guy says GM Bitcoin is still underpriced at 45,000. ETF inflows are days away and halving is 118 days away. But I think it was like 108 days away.
Hmm.
But it says expect more price swings as we draw nearer to announcement. Oh, Happy New Year, by the way. Market movements will be volatile for the next few days. Wouldn't be surprised to see 50,000 plus Bitcoin in a few days. All right.
Yeah. I mean, if we get the approval, yeah, it's going to go above 50,000. It'll probably shoot up, bounce off of 50,000, come back down to 44, 48, and then shoot right back up. But I mean, that could all happen within the course of a few hours. Like
Yeah,
it's going to be so huge once that happens.
for sure. We've seen some crazy
Imagine,
price action like that happen before, too.
imagine though, so imagine this scenario. It gets approved. All the people who are all selling altcoins right now, all the people who are all stacking up cash to buy Bitcoin now, it gets approved. Immediately they all jump in because they're trying to front run the ETF, right? So they jump in and then they get, so say the ETF does start trading in a day or two. The price could move from 45 to 55 or 60 within that day. And then now all of a sudden it hit all the news because it will hit all the news, like, at least financial news, CNBC, stuff like that. Will be running stuff all about the Bitcoin ETF and how big of a deal it is, and Jim Cramer will be fudding it, and all that stuff. And then all these people that are hearing this news will also hear Bitcoin has a halving coming up, and the price just jumped $10,000 overnight. Like, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
and so not only will it like people want to buy an ETF anyways, but they'll be wanting to buy an ETF that currently is up 20% in 2 days. Like people,
Hmm.
people are get greedy. It's what happens every bull market. We're gonna get some greedy people coming in and pumping our bags, and then we
Right.
just got to do better than we did last time and make sure we take some profit.
Yeah, I sure will, or at least I
Yeah.
hope I
Oh yeah.
will.
That's
Uh,
my. I mean, profit is my priority this bull
right.
market. I am not gonna get caught holding the bag. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be. Most people are gonna be DCAing in. I'm gonna be DCAing out.
Right. So here's the answer to your question from earlier. There are 11 companies applying for
Okay.
ETFs for the SEC to approve them. It's Grayscale Bitcoin Trust Refile. So the ticker GBTC, ARK Invest, ARKV, iShares Bitcoin Trust, IBIT. That's BlackRock. So we got Grayscale, 21 shares in ARK, BlackRock, Bitwise, Van Eck, Wisdom Tree, Invesco and Galaxy, Fidelity, Valkyrie, Hashdex, and Franklin. And I've already seen a bunch of Bitcoin ETF commercials from these big companies. Like Van Eck's got one out, Hashdex. Uh, I've seen quite a few. Bitwise has one. Even BlackRock, I think I saw a
Does
commercial
it
from
does it have
them.
on here? It's a little too small for me to see. Does it have final approval date on there? Is that first and second AP, or was it? Do we know what those dates are?
Oh, these are all. The deadline is the 10th, I think, but it doesn't
Because I
say
mean,
on
I
here
think
now.
I think ARK has the first deadline. I think theirs is like tomorrow or Wednesday or something, and then the other ones come a few days after that. So I
Okay,
know they don't all have the
one of them's
same
the
same.
ticker is Burr, like BRRR. That's hilarious. One of them's DeFi. You got EasyBC, FBTC, BTCO, BTCW, HODL. That's a good one. HODL. That'll that's a funny name for an ETF. That I love these names. They even memed out the names. It's great. So
Yeah, but the whole point of an ETF though is not to meme. You're supposed to get grandma invested, right? So she's not
right,
going to
yeah,
invest in HODL. She's going to invest in iShares. Like,
right,
that's, so yeah, good for them. They're being funny, but I think it might cost them some money in the long run. But it's, well, yeah,
we'll see for
do
sure.
what they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So what have we got? So I follow this guy Kyle Chassé. He's been in crypto for like 13 years. Uh, he's multimillionaire, very good at playing the markets. So I follow him on Twitter. He says what I'm looking at closely is ETF approval will send Bitcoin and ETH. The OGs will snap up the hype too. ETF delay/denial will be a sell-off event where I'd load up on alts massively. So if it does get denied, load up on alts. ETF
Right.
approval will skyrocket Bitcoin dominance, sucking interest from alts for a while till rotation. Like we were talking about earlier, where the cycle
Hmm.
profits go into the alts. And then
Yeah.
this
So I mean,
was
the real
go
play, right? Everyone's buying Bitcoin. The real play is hopefully you've been stocking up on Bitcoin for the last 2 years, and now you buy the alts when they start crashing, and wait for them to pump, right?
right.
This is the opportunity. Like, buy when there's blood in the streets.
Yeah.
Alts are hurting. Buy the alts today. Buy the Bitcoin
Yeah.
yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like we were saying, BlackRock's got over $2 billion lined up in week one for their Bitcoin ETF. So that's
Hmm.
great. I saw that I think that was them that they minted 2 billion USDT.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
I
I didn't hear
think I
that.
think that was them because that's right. It coincided with the news article. somebody minted 2 billion USDT, and this news article came out, and then it
Yeah.
says Bitcoin ETF approval is basically done. The SEC is trying to line everyone up for January 11th launch. So they want to launch like the next day if they get it approved on the 10th. So that is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think that they should be able to get it going the next day.
And
It
then
yeah, it'll be nice.
yeah, and then this is
We'll
very
see what
nice
happens.
also. VanEck is going to donate 5% of Bitcoin ETF profits to support Bitcoin core devs for at least 10 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
And
That's
that's
5%.
really bullish
A
for the
lot.
space, because that's going to let the core developers just go to town and just, basically do everything that they really kind of couldn't before if they were
Mhm.
financially struggling or something. But now 5% of the profits, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah. The other thing, do you have any Coinbase stock?
I'm not holding any right now. I used to hold some, but I do not have any right now.
I I saw somebody, if you go back up to that chart that you had with all the ETFs on it,
Oh,
I saw somebody mention the fact that no one is really talking about the fact that there is that Coinbase is going to be the one carrying almost all of them.
yeah.
Like go over that far right of that chart. Far right.
The
Right there. Look at that.
oh,
It's gonna be a lot of profit for Coinbase because I don't know what
Coinbase.
they
Oh yeah,
charge.
it's all Coinbase. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much it costs to do an OTC purchase. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what $2 billion from BlackRock of Bitcoin looks like. I don't know if they make 200,000, 200 million. Like, I don't know but I bet there's gonna be a lot of zeros on that, and that's just from BlackRock. Like,
Oh
got all
yeah,
the
and
other ones on
I saw these numbers too were way higher. Like BlackRock raised
Coinbase.
2 billion, like we were saying, and then
Yeah,
VanEck, 200 million. Yeah, this is great.
yeah. I don't know what they charge for an OTC transaction, but it's gotta make them some serious money.
Oh, you're
So
talking
we'll.
about if you buy the share, the ETF share, or on
Well, no,
Coinbase?
I'm talking about. Do you know where an OTC transaction is?
Like on what exchange?
Uh, well, on any exchange, it's
OTC over the counter? What is that? Or
um, yeah, I think it's called an OTC. I think it's over the counter. Yeah, but so basically, what it is anytime you get like a major corporation that buys Bitcoin. Anytime you get MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin, anytime you get El Salvador buying Bitcoin, anytime you have like a company that buys Bitcoin,
uh-huh.
they do what's called an OTC transaction. I believe it's called OTC, unless I'm blanking out, unless I'm having a brain fart. But it's an OTC transaction, and what happens is you have to have a mediator, because say BlackRock gets approved, they go the next day, they want to buy $2 billion of Bitcoin. 2 billion. If they tried like you and me, if they tried to go into Coinbase, or they tried to go into Robinhood, or they tried to go into Kraken or whatever, and they clicked buy, they clicked, buy Bitcoin, $2 billion, buy, they couldn't buy it because the price would move so much with $2 billion going in that it would not be able to fill at their price. And as it was buying, it would keep going like this. So they'd be buying some of it for 45,000, and the rest of it they'd be buying for like 55,000.
Oh, so
And so
OTC is market order.
yes, well, no, because no, a market order is when you just buy it in the market at the price.
Right, but if
What
you
happens is,
put a market order for like $2 billion though, it'll pump the price, you know?
yes. So that's what I'm saying though, is because you can't buy that much Bitcoin all at once without the price moving.
Right.
Like when I click buy for Bitcoin, it just buys whatever amount that I say to buy it. If I say buy $500 of Bitcoin, it'll buy me $500 of Bitcoin like that. But you can't do that with $2 billion. If you do that with $2 billion,
Right.
You'll start buying at 45, and by the time you buy your last Satoshi, it's going to be like 55,000. And so they're not going to get a good deal on their Bitcoin. So what an
Yeah.
OTC transaction is you have a third party service, and in this case it's going to almost always going to be Coinbase. And so
Hmm.
what happens is you have somebody that has the money, somebody that holds the Bitcoin, or somebody that's selling the Bitcoin, somebody that has the money, and then you have the third party like Coinbase. And what happens is you have this transaction where Coinbase says we hold this much Bitcoin, and this person's gonna send it to us, and we're gonna send it to you as long as you send us the money first to prove that you have the money. So you've got person holding the Bitcoin, person with the money. They send it both to Coinbase, and then Coinbase will send it out where it needs to go. So it works as like a transfer. It's like if I sent you Bitcoin. It doesn't affect this Bitcoin price when I send you Bitcoin. It only affects the Bitcoin price when I buy Bitcoin. And so an OTC basically is it's an off market. It's not a market transaction. It's an off market transaction because it doesn't affect the Bitcoin price because it's like a transfer. It's not like a purchase.
It's like a limit
And
order,
so,
right?
well, no, not even a limit order because a limit order is just a market order that executes when you hit a limit. What I'm saying is it's not a purchase of Bitcoin. It's a transfer of Bitcoin pending funds, if that makes sense. Like when I buy Bitcoin, when you buy Bitcoin, you buy and your money goes this way and Bitcoin comes this way. And it's an instant transaction. What this has a third party. So instead of me taking this money and buying the Bitcoin with the money, I give the money to this guy and they take the Bitcoin that's over here and they just transfer me Bitcoin and they say, look, you sent us this much money. We know you sent us this much money, so we'll send it to you. And so
Huh.
it is an off market. It's on the ledger, but it's not on the market, so it doesn't affect the price. Um,
Interesting.
and so
So
yeah, and
you can't do that on like if you're buying from Coinbase, if you're buying Bitcoin from Coinbase,
right.
is that the same thing or is that different?
So no, because when you're buying retail from Coinbase, that the price that you buy goes into the market and affects the market. What it's I mean, I guess it's sort of the same thing in that, say BlackRock is sending them money and they're sending them back Bitcoin, but they don't record it as a sale, and so it doesn't go into, the charts are moving because there's
Oh, I
millions of
see
transactions
what you mean.
a second,
Yeah,
right?
because with them it'd be different because they have the
Yeah,
ETF.
yeah. And so it's essentially saying like when I say buy Bitcoin and I type in $500 and it buys me $500 worth of Bitcoin, I send the money, they buy the Bitcoin for me. But they do this little off the books thing essentially where they say I want $2 billion of Bitcoin. Here's $2 billion, and then Coinbase goes, oh, okay, we see that you sent us $2 billion. Here's a bunch of Bitcoin, but we're not registering this as an actual transaction that affects the price. It's just a transfer of money and a transfer of Bitcoin. So
I
it's
see.
like if you handed me $20 and then I sent you $20 of Bitcoin to your wallet. That isn't going to affect the price because it doesn't actually go into okay, that's the term I'm looking for. It doesn't go into the order book. The order book is what
Right.
affects price. The ledger is
Yeah.
what records movements. So it's
Okay.
recorded on the ledger of Bitcoin, but it's not recorded in the order book. So
Okay.
it's essentially, yeah, that's the best example. If you right now if you sent me $1,000 to my bank account and I sent you the equivalent amount of Bitcoin, that Bitcoin would be counted as a transfer. It wouldn't be counted as a purchase, and so it wouldn't affect the price of Bitcoin. But if you were to go to Coinbase and spend $1,000, they'd give you $1,000 of Bitcoin, and they record that in the order book as a price adjustment
Right.
to the order book. So
Right.
that's what an OTC is, and that's what has to be done anytime you have massive, like probably more than a few $1,000,000. Anytime you have orders of massive scale, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, you have to record an OTC transaction because otherwise the order won't fill because there's not enough Bitcoin available at that price to buy
Hmm.
it. Like there's enough Bitcoin for me to buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, and I'll just get that $1,000. But if my order was so big, right? Because there's only so many people willing right now to sell at 45,000. So if I bought up all the available Bitcoin at 45,000, and I still had 1.5 billion to go, it would keep going higher and higher and higher. But I don't want to buy it at 50,000. I don't want to buy it at 60,000. BlackRock doesn't want to buy it at 80,000. They want to buy it at 45,000. So they have to do a OTC transaction in order to purchase at that price.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you think that the big companies that are going to release the ETF, are they going to get their Bitcoin, their hands on their Bitcoin that way? Or are they going to
They're
get
going
it
to
from
have
an
to.
exchange?
Yeah,
They're going to have
they're
to.
going to have to, and that's why they have seed money, because they can't buy $5 of Bitcoin every time somebody wants to buy $5 of their ETF. Because if they did, it would be insane. There'd be so many fees. The price would be nuts. That's why they have
Right.
seed money. That's why BlackRock has $2 million right now, because they're going to make big purchases all at once, and it's going to have to be OTC so it doesn't affect the price. But what
Yeah,
it
I'm
does
sure they'd
affect is
love to
on the back.
tempt the price first before they do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's going to be. Well, the only thing is, when you become an ETF, you are all of a sudden now. There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of people looking. And so market manipulation actually becomes harder when you become registered with the SEC, because now people could go to prison for life. And so, yes, I bet behind the scenes they've probably been doing a little bit of that. Allegedly, don't sue me, BlackRock, but it's probably been happening behind the scenes. And there's definitely market manipulation that happens in Bitcoin. There's
Oh, I just
definitely
got a
whales.
notification from BlackRock that they're suing. It says they're suing.
Uh-huh.
Suing.
Yeah, but I mean, well, and BlackRock is so powerful. I mean, honestly, probably more what they do is influence more than actual like market manipulation. And we know that they're so powerful that like they're the only ones that can really go call up the SEC and get something approved, right? So it's
Yeah.
they are they're pretty powerful, but they have to still buy these OTC transactions. That's how they have to buy them, because otherwise the price would go insane. The way that the price goes up with these ETFs is not because it's going to be a bunch of retail transactions. It's going to be because there will be basically no supply left. I mean, right now, you look, there's nobody selling right now. That's why the price is not dipping below 40,000. Especially there was nobody selling at 30,000, 25,000 anymore. Because everyone who would have sold Bitcoin is a long-term holder, and they're not selling again to all-time high. And so right now, what is it? It's something like 90% of Bitcoin
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
hasn't moved in more than a year, something like that. So
Right.
that 10% of Bitcoin right now that's in circulation, how much of that is going to be bought up by the $5 billion that are going to go into ETFs, right? Like, I don't even know the math on that, but essentially the price, there's going to be so little Bitcoin available. There's already record low amounts of Bitcoin on exchanges. Now they're going to sell it all to the ETFs. Now when we try to buy it, there won't be any left, and so the price is going to be double in order to cover the supply. Even if the demand is the same, the supply will be zero.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw someone I think it was 2 days ago. They bought $27 million worth of Bitcoin from Binance and sent it to the Satoshi wallet. Thank you for your
Yeah, I saw it. Well,
sacrifice.
it was like 27 Bitcoin is what they
Oh,
sent, or
27
something like
Bitcoin.
that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw somebody it was like the dumbest tweet ever. They're like, they sent 27.619 Bitcoin or 26.619. They're like, is this a signal that they're gonna crash the crash the market to 26.9 or whatever? And I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's so many weirdos in crypto.
Who knows? Um,
Yeah. Is
but
this
I
a
just
signal?
this headline is so funny. It says institutions and sovereign wealth funds are waiting for Bitcoin ETF approval before allocating funds. Kevin O'Leary, the SBF apologist, says.
Hmm. Yeah. We
That's
should
great.
never forget it. He should
Right.
never receive any amount of respect ever again.
Right.
He,
Yeah,
yeah,
I second that.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah. He is. on the payroll or something, who knows, but we should never listen to his opinion again. The fact that I can understand a little bit at the beginning, like, hey, he came out, oh, this guy made a mistake, whatever. But the fact that now he continued, as more and more evidence came out, continued defending him, and I haven't heard a defense recently, especially now since he's been convicted, but he's definitely never come out and apologized. Like, yeah, I don't think anyone should ever listen to his opinion again.
Mm-hmm. So they still haven't sentenced him though, right? SBF.
I don't know. I don't remember. I've kind of tuned out of that. Like once he got convicted.
Yeah, it was like big news the other day that the Department of Justice dropped the charges for the political donations because
Yeah.
they asked the judge that's prosecuting him right now to take that information into consideration while
Hmm.
they're sentencing him. So basically, they just didn't want to charge him and like passed it over to the judge that's prosecuting him now and saying just, hey, can you handle this for us? Like, add that on to his sentence that you're sentencing him for.
Yeah. Isn't it
So it
interesting
was
that the
kind of big
people who
news. Everyone was saying, "Oh, the government dropped these charges," but really, like the story is that like they asked the judge to, do it for them.
Yeah, but I mean, can you consider something that somebody hasn't been convicted of in order to sentence them? That seems like a miscarriage of justice, and but is
That's quite
anyone
possible.
surprised? Yeah, I mean, though, is anyone surprised though that the people who he gave money to that
Oh
are
yeah, not at
waiving
all.
his campaign finance charges?
Right. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, look at that. Look at that green candle. I'm looking
Oh,
at the
what?
15-minute chart, so it looks
Are we
big.
coming back? Oh yeah, it's turning green on the daily.
Yeah.
It's
So,
44.
yeah.
Back to 44. Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be
Oh,
just a
yep.
little
Look,
dump,
the
little
red dot was canceled. See that?
right. Yeah. So we're back above that line. I can yeah, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything else you
Yeah,
wanted me to
I
show
got
you? Any
a
other
couple
news?
more things right here. Um,
Okay.
this thing I thought was interesting. I'll just go to the actual tweet here. Here it is.
We actually wicked up to 44,245.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this account, Magnetic XRPL, posted this today. The XRP ledger suffered a massive DDoS attack. Since December 26, 2023, hundreds of accounts have been making millions of transactions per day to stop the network or at least slow it down. There has never been such a surge in activity on the XRP ledger. Since December 28th, about 5 million transactions have been made per day. DDoS attackers are burning 4,000 to 5,000 XRP each day in network fees. And that sounds bullish to me. If they're burning 5,000 XRP a day in network fees, geez. Their
Yeah.
strategy is simple. Hundreds, maybe thousands of different wallets are sending 0.000001 XRP to this wallet, a certain wallet. It is unclear what their motive is, whether it's Ripple themselves, they're testing the blockchain, or it's ill wishers deciding to bring down the network. In any case, this negatively affects regular network users as well as blockchain development projects. Nodes start operating slower, and network fees increase by hundreds or even thousands of times, which, I mean, 1,000 times the network fee right now would only be like 1 XRP. So that's not too bad. Moreover, these fees sometimes escalate not only for spammers, but also for ordinary users. Yesterday, Magnetic encountered issues due to this attack. The nodes became overloaded, so I think they run a XRP node. The nodes became
Right.
overloaded and significantly slowed down. As a result, some of our applications were unable to retrieve transaction history and subscribe to network transaction updates, so they lost connection. In the last 12 hours, we've been diligently working on optimizing the code, adjusting node configurations, and procuring additional resources. The problem has now been resolved. But even though we managed to solve the problem, the DDoS attack continues, and transactions are still ongoing. When will this end, and who benefits from this? Another interesting thought. Currently, there are 60 to 70 transactions per second on the network, usually 20 to 25 transactions per second. And even with such activity, network users are experiencing problems. XRP Ledger developers claim that the network can support 1,500 transactions per second. If issues like these arise at 60 to 70 transactions per second, what will happen at 1,500 transactions per second? While very powerful validator and blockchain explorer nodes will likely withstand such a load, what will happen to public nodes or nodes with limited capacities due to the owner's inability to afford them?
Hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. I don't know. I didn't know there was this. I knew something was going on with the XRP ledger, but I didn't know it was that serious.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like yeah, because it was like the 26th or something like that, where I I was seeing people were posting that some of the validators, some of the nodes were not able to basically process the transactions and they got disconnected from the network. And
Yeah.
even some of the Ripple nodes, like the ones that actually Ripple runs themselves, like, and those are supposed to be really good ones, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was a little worrying and uh, not good news. But it's the only bullish part about it I see is the 5,000 XRP burned a day. That's great.
Yeah. I
What do
wonder
you
if
think about
that.
that?
I wonder if if the motivation is to crash the network or it is to burn the XRP. Like,
Right.
who knows what who knows what it is there. I don't know, I'm not too worried about that. It's
Yeah.
always going to be an issue in crypto and stuff like that. The network's not crashing like Solana, so I mean, it's really, a slowdown is not that big of a deal. XRP is also too not mainstream. I don't know if that's not the right word to use, but they were down for so long because of all of their issues that they probably don't have the amount of validators and nodes that they will have in a year or two.
Right.
And so their network will probably continue getting stronger. It's probably actually pretty weak compared to what it should be right now. And
Yeah, I
so
don't think they
that
have a
you
lot of validators. That's one thing that I noticed was the validator count is very low with the XRP ledger,
yeah.
and I think it would
Well, and
stabilize more and help out with definitely these kind of
yeah.
attacks if there was more validators.
Well, I mean, it's probably just like all the, the exchanges wouldn't carry it because they thought it might have been a security. And so if you're wondering about that, like, why would you be a validator or a node, right? I remember seeing once, like, it was an infographic of like transactions per whatever, I don't remember, but it was just a dot that would drip like this across the screen, and it was like Bitcoin was like, and then ETH was like, and like Cardano or BNB or whatever, something was like, and then it was like XRP, and this is of course a couple years ago when it was still in a lawsuit, but XRP was like,
Hmm.
so like the amount of transactions on their network compared to everything else was tiny. And so why would you be a validator or a node on that? Give it a couple years to get into the
Yeah,
bull market and see how many more people start doing that, and then we'll see. I mean, it's not something that, like, it sucks, but like I'm not. It's not anything that makes me worried. Like,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah. That is
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, even it's at so with this attack, it's at 60 to 70 transactions per second. And
Hmm.
I don't know how much does Bitcoin do?
Doesn't it do? Isn't it like 9 a second or something like that?
Oh, I think it's 7. Yeah. Um, but yeah, there's some blockchains out there that just
Yeah.
can do way better than this, than just 60 to 70. Anyways, I just wanted to go over
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
a little
7
bit.
transactions per second. Okay.
But then right here, this thing says Bitcoin is ready to take off like a speeding bullet train.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That one. And then this seems interesting. Grayscale previously filed for a privacy ETF. One entity recently invested $30 million into ticker Rose crypto. Rose was already under Grayscale's quote assets under consideration end quote. Keep an eye out. This could get frothy. Are you connecting the dots? What do you see? That's the Oasis network. Rose is the ticker.
Uh-huh.
It's up 46% in the month. So that
I've heard
looks
I've
interesting.
heard the name I've heard the name Oasis. I don't know anything about it. So
Right, me
like
too. Yeah, I don't know
is it a
anything about it. I've
private
never bought it.
is it a privacy coin? Is that what that's saying? Like
Privacy. Yeah, I think so.
okay. I mean the only
So,
privacy coin I can name is Monero, so yeah.
right. So
No
that's
idea on
interesting
it.
that
There's just
Grayscale is kind of looking into that
mm-hmm.
assets under consideration.
Yeah,
So,
interesting.
and then last one of the night. On Wednesday, BlackRock is expecting approval from the SEC for its Bitcoin ETF. They are laying off 3% of its global workforce in the coming days, totaling about 600 employees. And they're expecting the approval from the SEC on
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday. So that's great. I would like that to happen, but knowing the government, I would say it's unlikely. Just
Mm-hmm.
it's so funny because it's like a 99% chance, but then there's always that 1% chance that they will
Yeah.
deny it. So
Yeah.
I'm ready for anything, really. So I'm not really too worried about it either way. It will get approved one day, if not Wednesday. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. I mean, even if it didn't get approved, we'd still be seeing all-time highs sometime in the next year or so. So it's gonna get approved. It's gonna be nuts. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. Well, hey,
yeah.
your jujitsu medals are looking great on the wall there. Oh,
Oh,
you got
thank
the
you.
belts up there too. Yes,
Yeah. So
looking
yeah,
good.
Brenda got me that belt holder for can't remember birthday or Christmas recently, but yeah. So I've got my belts. That's white belt and the blue belt, and that's just like a little basic. It's a placeholder belt because I wear the purple belt right now, so it's a placeholder purple streak of fabric there. But yeah,
Great.
eventually I'll put my purple belt up there and get like a brown belt to put up there. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight, Ryan. We did another crypto power hour with Epic Creations, and thank you so much for
yeah,
just investing and being a part of the crypto space. And also, Happy New Year! And it's going to be the year of the dragon this year, so I'm expecting big things for Bitcoin, for the country, for the world. So I'm really excited for this year. 2024, I think I'm sure, going to be our year. So
hmm
thank you again.
yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year. Yeah, happy beyond. Yeah, next time hopefully we can start a little bit earlier. Maybe I can do like we can do a little bit more charting, and I can show you how I look how I read charts, kind of like we did last time. But yeah, it's been good to be on. Good to talk to you. It's getting late over here, so I'm gonna head to bed. But yeah. Let's hope for an ETF. Hopefully next time we talk, we'll be above 60,000. So it'd be
All
nice.
right. And Ryan is in the Discord on our Epic Creations Surf and Skate Discord server. So if you guys have any questions for him, I think he'd be all right with you messaging him and asking a question. And
yeah, I don't check Discord a lot, but yeah, I'm on the server. I think it's Ryan the Trader. So
nice. Yeah, Ryan the Trader on Discord. You can find him in our server. And also cunningryanham on Instagram. You can find him there. He's got a lot of great pictures of his dog, his beautiful wife, and his jujitsu life. And I think you started up rollerblading lately too. So
now
there's
there's
that.
probably just gonna be a lot of hockey info. Yeah, I mean I did that for the first time today. I did a hockey class, and now that's gonna be my new obsession. It's gonna go all over Instagram. So yeah, I don't
Oh,
really
that's
post
awesome.
except for like in the Discord. I don't really post any actual like Bitcoin analysis or alpha or anything. I can never stay uh consistent enough to like start a Twitter or anything like that. But yeah, ask me questions in the Discord. I'd be happy to talk about it. I like talking about it. I just don't stay. I don't have a posting schedule or anything, so I don't have anywhere to post it other than like a Discord. But yeah, it's yeah, I'd be happy to talk to people though. I enjoy it, and hopefully we have a really good ETF party full week. So, yeah, have a good night. Happy New Year. Talk to you later.
Happy New Year, aloha.
Bye. Aloha.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Epic Crypto Power Hour with expert investor Ryan Cunningham. Today we covered some great stuff. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Epic Creations, Epic_Creations. Go to our link tree. It's www.epiq-beach, beach.club. That's www.epic-beach.club. Epic-beach.club. You can find all our links, to all our NFTs. We got skateboards, surfboards, hats, gear, all kind of cool stuff. So don't miss out. Make sure you smash the like button and hit it. Click it as hard as you can, as many times as you can, and share this video with all your friends that are into crypto. So please do. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You are epic. Aloha.